Just didn't like the connected, so we're going to continue. We see what I'm doing. The only thing different is the definition and included. That's what the judge put in. Yeah. Well, they'll come up on the other. Because the thing about it is the end of them. It's just got. No, I'm saying, it's like, look, it's pretty much the shit right.
2023 Quorum Court now in session. Please stand for Pastor Hope.
Jesus Christ, and thank you for a time that you've set aside to do business for the county. Father, we're asking your blessing and your presence upon the meeting tonight, that would be open-minded, be guided, directed by your spirit. We're praying, God, you'll touch every official in our state, county, local municipalities. Father, we just pray tonight, God, that you will just have your way, help us, guide and direct us. And I pray, God, for our men and women that are fighting for our country. God, keep your hand upon them. Lord, that you will bless us, bless the state of Arkansas, bless the United States of America. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Justice White.
Our pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Thank you. You have a motion to accept the minutes? Motion. Second? I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. Any corrections or additions? All those for?
Aye.
Against? Treasurer's report.
Well, we have the county general, $1,702,000. Road fund, $1,33,951. Sales tax, $1,856,000. And their additional motor fuel plan was $124,260. Total for all of them, $2,163,007. Total funds under my responsibility at the end of April was $9,889,700. Today, no revenue for FEMA for the month of April, and I was wondering, I asked the justices if there's any other info you prefer, if you're not expecting any that I know of anytime soon. And as far as sales tax revenue goes, we received it for April was $100,503. That was up $8,885 there a year ago. Jail bond sales tax for April was $43,611. That was $1,855, or about 4.5% from a year ago. And then year-to-date totals for sales and use tax for the jail, $185,529. And the sales tax 5,768.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have an estimate on when the jail will be paid off?
I'm sure look it up again, yeah, we do. We did.
I mean, is it within 5 years? Do you have any?
Right off the top of my head, no, I can't think of it.
That, the jail bond sales tax, is that the 0.5% sales tax or a total 0.5 and 0.25?
Good question.
Or is it, sure.
What was it, Mr. Chairman?
Say your question again.
Sir.
He wants to hear your question.
Oh, the jail bond. The noted jail bond sales tax was 43,006. I didn't know if that was the 0.5% or the 0.25%. Well,
No, that is the 0.5.
so you're not reporting on the 0.25? If not, could we get that information next? Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Say,
Yeah.
motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report. All those four or discussion? I think we had some discussion already. All those four? All those four?
Aye.
Against? The assessor said she would not make it tonight. Collector's report.
Were in April $52,367.69. Delinquent personal property for 22 collected last month was $33,712.53. And collected in April of 22 was $9,653.17. Delinquent real estate collected April $29,015.60. Collected April of 22 was $9,020.90. Total collected in April, including charge card, was $2,048,796.72. And in April of 22, it was $81,041.76. Questions?
In your addendum that you handed out, there's a total of 286,000 in delinquent. Would you
No,
talk,
that's not what it
would you talk to that for a moment?
is. This one I handed out. Okay, I missed a couple JPs. That is just what was collected. I don't have the total of what is delinquent at this time. I can get that and have it next month.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am, that's it.
Motion to accept.
Motion.
I got a motion and a second to accept the collector's report. All those four? Against? OEM report.
Thank you, Judge. The report will pretty much stayed as written, just a couple of highlights really quick. We moved over to the new facility. We are in there, LCAT's been in there. We're up and operational in terms of all of our internet and things of that nature. I'd like to draw your attention to the fourth bullet point. Myself and Judge Stump, along with Ms. Penn and Dan, the maintenance supervisor, met with Brian Bell the other day for a number of punch list items with the new OEM facility, particularly the coroner's office as well. We identified a number of items that had not been completed, and they actually scheduled, came back in today, checked everything out, and will be in tomorrow between 8:30 and 9 o'clock to complete all the punch list items for things that were already under contract and anything that was associated with the subsequent contract to do the work in the coroner's office. So that should all be completed tomorrow for just the initial punch list items. If anyone has any questions, I'll be more than happy to entertain. Thank you, Judge. Motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to accept the OEM report. All those four?
Aye.
Against? E911.
For the month of April,
Yes, sir.
I got a couple questions. In January, you presented us with a detailed report showing the various breakdowns of costs,
Yes.
showing the difference on law enforcement and I notice now they're just one lump sum. And I was under the impression that you were gonna go back and produce that report so that we know what some of the calls are. I understand what the 1051 is, but a lot of the others we don't know. And is that only applied to the sheriff? Or is that,
No, it's county law. It's for every agency.
so it's all the agencies,
So yeah,
1051, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, that license check or something like that,
that's a person's check.
person check? So that's through the internet?
It's through ACIC,
Yeah.
the terminal. And that's where the terminal transactions are on this month's report.
I
It's
know,
right down there.
don't we get billed for that?
911 is not.
Who gets billed?
The various agencies that use the system do. We only run it for the agencies. They're the ones that pay for it.
So they get billed every month?
If Flippin runs something, they use Flippin's ORI.
Right, that's right.
And they get the billing for it. And it's the same with Bull Shoulder.
So can we see that breakdown? Be interesting to see the various breakdowns, because this is being inputted with the new system now, this will be inputted into cars and not in the dispatch center.
ACIC is in the cars and it would be really hard to really break that down by each agency because that's a lot to keep up with. It would be hard for the dispatchers to decipher each day what they're doing for each agency.
It's my understanding this is all log when it comes in on 911.
The ACIC and the CAT system are two totally different consoles. They're not logged the same.
So you log in, correct me if I'm wrong then, you log off the 911 and you log into the ACIC system and NCIC system.
We're logged on to both, but it's a completely different system. They don't work together. It's a completely different operating
So
system.
you have to log in on one when you're done, and log in on the other one.
No, we stay logged in.
And you're saying this information is not available? To get a log to showing the detail?
I would have to contact ACIC to get that.
It's my understanding with the logging, the system, it would be automatic.
Not with ACIC, it's not. Only with the CAD system. The CAD system will break down dispatch calls, but not anything ACIC related.
So that's just one lump? I'm having a hard time understanding it, because it's my understanding of the new CAD system, like the fire call. Before, I won't say here, because it's different over here. I could, on a call, I'd go back to the station and I'd get a complete log of that run. From the time it was pays out to the time we set her back in service.
Yes, and they can do that now.
Are they getting it?
If they supply an email, they can get it, yes.
That's not what they have. So you should have their emails right now, don't you?
Yes,
And I understand that just all they do is send an email and they get a log.
yes.
They all are getting it?
No, they're not.
And why is that?
Because I'm not going to send them things if they don't want it. Some departments don't even call for their information and some can log in and see their.
They have to ask for a log on a run?
No,
That's what you just said. They have to have. I would think
I have not been to a chiefs meeting yet.
I'm sorry.
I have not been to the chiefs meeting since we've got the system up and going.
Okay.
It was my plan this month on the 23rd to bring a report to them to show them what it looks like, to see if they were interested in receiving these when they clear a call. Some departments are utilizing. They were the test departments to see if this was going to work or if it wasn't going to work with systems they're already using. So at the chiefs meeting this month, that was to be addressed, if they wanted to start utilizing the system. Yes, I attended.
You good? Are you good? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know, since we spent money to put computers in the sheriff deputy vehicles, why they aren't accessing themselves. Now, that's a sheriff question, but it's part of the conversation.
I have asked the people not to be trying to run and transmit things over the computer while they're driving down the road. They can pick up a microphone and call dispatch and give them the information that they want, and dispatch can give it back. As far as the deputies on patrol, they would have to pull over the side of the road, enter the information in, if they're following a vehicle, to get a 28 on the vehicle, if you will, the owner's who owns it. They would have to pull over, enter the information, wait for it to come back up, and then redo it belongs to, all while sitting still. Someone could be able to do it while they're driving down the road, but it's a safety issue.
I get that,
Yeah.
but that's not what we got sold when we approved the computer. Just,
Yeah.
again, we got divorced.
As a safety feature, I don't want them driving down the road to it. I want them to
I
walk.
don't want, they might as well be ticketed.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, you make a traffic stop, the officer can make checks in his vehicle at that point.
Yes. Yeah.
But are they?
Ma'am,
But are
well, that's a management issue.
If they feel safe enough to do it, that's fine. But if you're out with 2 or 3 individuals on the side of the road, there's no sense in going back to the car. You dispatch.
Do I have a motion to accept the E911 report?
they?
I got a motion and a second to accept. All those for? Aye. Against? Grant report.
We've done our report for ARPA, for our report on the American Rescue Funds. We've done that. And we're still trekking along with our grant applications. We're applying for this time, we were putting in a resolution to apply for Clerk's Automated Fund, and we're waiting to hear back about our court security grant. We do have the cybersecurity grant. We're waiting to hear back.
Correct. Do I have a motion to accept the grant report? I have a motion and a second to accept. All those for? Against? Law enforcement report.
If I could go back to just, what Justice Brigham was asking about the computer.
Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, the county received a grant to buy the computers, isn't that right? So actually so the county did have to pay something? I didn't know. The Quorum court report that we emailed out earlier, there's not any changes to be made to it. I do want to say that we lost our medical provider. They left and will be leaving May the 15th. He's had several lawsuits that were filed against him. So he's full rank and is going elsewhere. We have been looking diligently, I might add, to try to find somebody that could come in and provide service. And we've contacted Boston Mountains, a couple of nurse practitioners, a couple of doctors, LPNs. We're trying to come up with something. But whenever that something comes up, we're going to need a little money to try to pay somebody to, even if we have to hire an LPN or a RN for a while to get them down the road. I'll be coming back and asking for some money.
How much did we pay the other guy?
We're paying him $2,000 a month right now, $24,000. Additionally, I'll be needing to come back and ask for money to upgrade and pay for the detention center software that we currently use. It hasn't been, it's called Wind Songs, and it hasn't been updated since 2000. Wind Songs is no longer compatible, and you can't upgrade that. You've got to move on to the newest and greatest, which is called iSongs now. iSongs, to buy the upgrade is $45,000 one cost, one time. And then it costs you $5,000 a month, or I'm sorry, a year for the upgrades and them to maintain the software. That's on the jail side. On the law enforcement side, as some of you know, we were on RPS for law enforcement. The bills had not been paid since 2018. And when we called to get the company to come and give us another quote, they were gracious enough to come, and they said, but, we'd love to help you out. But what about this $27,000? It was like, what $27,000? And so we have owed RPS $27,000 since December of 18.
Did you say 18, sir?
December of 18.
So going on 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Who is RPA?
It's the company out of Jonesboro that has provided the software for report writing. Now then, having said that, Officer Hollingsworth, Marion County Chief Deputy, has been in contact and talks with the people that own this company. And they have agreed that if we will sign on and pay their $4,500 a year upgrade information, that they will wipe the $27,000 bill out.
Oh,
Did you say 45?
Yes, 4,500. And the reason for that is it was like the divorce. They said, we're not going to hold you responsible for something that happened in 2018. So we've got positive movement there. So we'll be coming back and asking for more money later for the RPS software.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Is that 4,500 a year plus the, that 45,000?
The 45,000 is for the one-time upgrade. Yes,
That's for the jail.
that's for the jail.
Oh,
That's for the jail.
For the sheriff's department, there's not a one-time fee, it's just 4,500 a year.
Those people have agreed to wipe that bill clean, wipe it clean. Just so, and we'll start paying the $5,000.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark Hollingsworth done that. This, within the past couple of weeks, we had one jailer that was stuck with a needle. And she was patting down, I don't know if she was patting down the inmate or what, but had a needle stuck her in the hand. And we've got a workers' comp issue going on right now with that.
Testing what? Blood sugar.
Okay, she was testing the blood, a blood sugar issue. So I don't know if y'all keep up with the workers' comp or not, but it's out there right now.
So if
No, go, come on.
you had a jailer was testing the blood of an inmate that was sick?
Yes, sir. You're exactly right.
I think I would call 911 and have a paramedic do that.
Quicker that one.
Thank you much. Yes, ma'am.
You and Mr. Russo are working on, your budget and projections and stuff like that. What's the average number for VOC inmates that y'all are working?
Well, we're gonna work with zero. And if we have extra, it'll be extra money. But right now, we've got to stay with zero. We need to work with the capacity that we have of workers. We don't have the workers to hold 75 inmates. I mean, we've got the same amount of workers, but we can't do that.
Warren?
I think that's a good idea. Sharon,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to bring and mention,
Thank you.
yeah, I thought that was really good.
Brady Madden done an excellent job. He's ran the auction, advertising, and didn't charge the county a dime.
He did,
Nice.
He's done it all free Brady. When he all clean, done him thank you.
yeah.
Do I have a motion to accept? Motion. I got a motion and a second to accept law enforcement report. All those for? Against? Library report.
Floors in the library. It is done. Those of you who didn't know, terrible flood back in November. And we went to the best time, which was April, to get the new flooring in, and it was great. If you aren't able to swing by the library, just fine, go to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see a lot of the videos that what we put together. Also, I wanted to mention that we just received a grant for $2,200 from Twin Lakes Community Foundation. Those are going to be used for our Reading is Awesome, not like the awesomes that are on the ground, awesome. And they're going to be used for, hopefully that many will be used for the DVD units, one more DVD unit or one more picture book unit. So we'll have books and all of that for the 2000. So that's pretty cool. We have our summer schedule ready. So Thursdays, 11 a.m. starting June 1st, we're going to have a cookout on the first Thursday, which is June 1st. And on the 8th, we'll have Ken from Fred Berry on that. And then on June 15th, we're going to have Marty the Magician. He's great for all ages. Totally come in to see him. And then on the 22nd, we're going to have the North Arkansas Kennel Club. They're going to show us how to do some puppy training and possibly even give us some tips and tricks on how to train a kitty cat. I know I need that immensely. The very last weekend in June, I'm not going to share yet. That's in here. So we've got some exciting stuff going on. Want to read, which is great. Good thing to do. We actually give you prizes for reading. So if you read and log on Read Square, which you can get to our website, argolibrary.org, and you can log for reading there. Also log to activity, events, programs at the library. Very good.
Motion. The library open.
Yes.
We have a motion to accept. I got a motion and a second to accept the library report. Any discussion? All those for?
Aye.
Against? Fair board report. All right. Road reports. 71 roads graded, a lot of side. Cold mix. I'm sure you've seen the guys out there. We've been potholing like crazy. Culvert work, cleaning them out from all the rains, ditch lines, 187 dump truck loads of base, and with the 4-inch gravel. Any questions? Motion to accept. Vote. You got a motion and a second to accept road report. Discussion. All those for? Against? Quarry report. 508 man hours, days work 16, 187 loads taken out, 3,336 tons. Total tonnage crushed, 3724. Total tonnage out, 3723. Any questions?
Second.
I got a motion and a second to accept. Any discussion? All those for? Against? Solid waste, Traffic count for the month was 2,062, year-to-date 8068. Recyclables, 1095 for the monthly count, year-to-date 4584. Bag count for the month 4303, year-to-date 18,131. Sent to the landfill this month is 87.92 tons, year-to-date 296.48 tons. With the metal, we got 6.67 tons for the month, 0.69 tons year-to-date. Any questions? I got a motion and a second to accept. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have a date on the shelter?
But we're still in contact about people involved, but we're not there yet on with Arkansas. Yes. Yes, sir.
We'll be setting up a committee meeting for that. Obviously, the waste committee or the recycle committee has not met yet.
Okay.
We'll be setting up a meeting for that.
Yeah, whatever the solid waste committee chooses to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Motion to accept.
Motion.
I got a motion to accept, a second to accept. Any discussion? All those for? Against? Fire chief's report.
President Day, so I don't have a report, so I'm committing that.
Yes.
Sorry. So I don't know.
No problem.
And Billy has an update on the radios, if y'all need a report on that. We have a meeting the 23rd, as she said. So at the fairgrounds.
Yeah. Well, let's see, we hope, we will wait to see if anybody complains about the meeting.
Okay.
We have to go physical numbers, but we gotta make sure we're on complain. And we've got power of one of them, hopefully we'll get power to the other two. Get okay for the frequencies, make sure nobody complains, don't bother. We're gonna start with the gateways, get the console, start getting that part.
All right. Yeah. Get a motion to accept. I got a motion and a second to accept the fire chief's report. Any discussion? All those for? Against? Anybody here for the planning commission? All right.
I'll give you a report at this
Oh, thank you, sir. Budget committee?
I believe that John would like to expand on that. Okay, not the budget. Okay, we've got the minutes in the deal. And they're pretty self-explanatory. So that will take care of them. We don't have another thank you. We don't have another meeting scheduled yet. But I'm sure we'll have one before the next 24 days. That meeting was about 2 hours long, I think, for 30. It was quite a long meeting, but we got it all through. And I guess that's about it. If I got any questions on the budget, I don't ask me, but if you could talk, you can say it.
I get a motion to accept. I got a motion and a second to accept the budget committee report. Any discussion? All those for? Against? Personnel committee.
We had a meeting.
We had, we had rather robust discussion of work at home.
Okay.
We tabled that issue. We didn't completely understand the county's liability in terms of workers' comp. There were concerns about information security and definition of what customer service means. just as a note, we didn't vote on it per se. But there was consensus of the committee that it was, in the absence of a county policy at work at home, no county employee can work at home at this time. Any questions?
Get a motion to accept? Get a second? I got a motion, a second to accept the personnel committee report. Any discussion? All those for?
Aye.
Against? Law enforcement committee.
Had a meeting. And, John Reed also would like to speak on it. He's up for minutes on that. You can go ahead.
The sheriff, covered the salient issues in that meeting, so there's no addition. May I go back to personnel for just a second as a note?
Briefly, yes.
The personnel committee had nominated Miss Peggy Penakowski for the library board.
Oh, we're gonna get to that here.
It's in the minutes.
Yes, we'll get to that when announcements here at the end. Motion to accept the law enforcement committee.
Meeting.
I get a motion? Second. I got a motion, a second to accept. All those for? Against? I don't believe solid waste and procedures and management met, correct? So I don't believe that solid waste procedures and management met, correct? No. All right. Any more old business? Unfinished. New business.
The very first ordinance that is involving the wage increases from my office has been pulled for this meeting. I will represent it at the June meeting, so I don't break my own rule about having it be in time for the packets. So next up, I would entertain an ordinance to read by title only, and not a motion.
Motion.
Second to reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I have a question, Mr. Russo. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, that if an ordinance has been approved and passed, any amendments or anything, you've got to refer back to the prior documents to be included into it, is that correct? If it's not, the way I understood it, if it's not included, then it's automatically omitted. Maybe. But the way I read the state law, it said ordinance cannot be voted on by title only. Ordinance, an amendment. That's very clear in that 14-14-905.
It's going to depend upon, I have no idea what you're talking about. So depending upon whatever ordinance you're talking about, I don't know if it's amendment, I don't know if it's I have no idea.
Neither do we. The way I read 14-14-905, an amended ordinance cannot be read by title only.
And if you're
amending an ordinance.
if you're amending a previous ordinance, you cannot amend the ordinance by title only. A complete copy has to be attached.
Or by reference to, you can reference.
Incorporated by reference.
That's right.
But on the planning, copy of the original ordinance, filed by the clerk, is supposed to be attached to it.
That's right, yeah.
So if you're not amending, you're replacing the new ordinance and you're totally doing away with the old ordinance,
Then it'd be okay.
you're okay.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what you're talking about.
We don't have any idea either. We're gonna read by title only. And we have to know, are we amending it? Is it a new ordinance? A complete replacement? That's gotta be spelled out so that if we agree to by title, it complies with the law regarding amended ordinances. That somehow we've got, the way I understood the question from your document is in the past, we read by title only, but we left out references. And the way the law is read, if you don't refer to it by reference in the title, you're saying that here's, we're amending it, but this is also included.
But most of the ordinances I've looked over here have not been amended, they've been replaced. But without knowing the specific ordinance that we're talking about here, I have no idea.
In the discussion phase, we'll get to look at the ordinance and we can discuss that then. Because I'm concerned, we need to know if we're replacing an existing ordinance or are we changing somewhere in the body of that ordinance? Because if we don't have the reference in that ordinance, it's automatically dropped. But no, in the law, it says you can't do that. You gotta have reference. So we've got to, no offense to anyone, it's just been done and we haven't known it. But the way I read that law, it's very clear. You have to have, like you did with the two sales tax ordinance in the past, reference those ordinances and that made it okay. That was your recommendation to include those references. But every ordinance we look at now, we have to, somewhere in the opening paragraph, has to state this is a replacement or what section we're amending. Otherwise, we should be doing the same thing we've been doing. Is passing ordinances that are unknowns to us are complete replacements.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Okay,
All right.
this is going to be appropriation ordinance 23-50.
We have to vote it, about that long.
Oh, yes, sir.
Thought we did. I
No,
asked,
You asked and there was a motion made and the motion was seconded and then Mike just now finished his discussion.
said, all those in favor? And I said, all those against.
I'm gonna vote no, then I missed my opportunity, I guess. I
Okay,
don't want to read by title only.
okay.
I'm a no vote.
I'm sorry.
I'm a no vote as well.
let's do individual vote, please.
Okay. Justice Scrima? We're voting on whether or not to vote, but read by title only.
I'm going to say no.
Okay? Just 1 second, please. Justice Nichols?
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren?
No.
Justice White?
No.
Justice Reed?
Yes.
Reed. Oh, no. Think what she said, because I was thrown by a female voice. What is your vote, please, sir?
No.
Justice Hutching?
Yes.
Justice Shipman?
Yeah.
Justice Brigham?
No.
Justice McCullough?
Yes, but
I have never been.
Well, it failed because we didn't get 6 votes.
Right. So we will not read by title only. Please proceed.
Ordinance 2352 being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amended annual operating budget ordinance 2022-98 for calendar year 2023 for Marion County, Arkansas, appropriate funds for software training in the treasurer's office. Section 1, the appropriation is for the transfer of funds to pay for software training needed in the treasurer's office. Section 2, appropriate unappropriated money in the amount of $3,200 as follows. Appropriate from $3,000 treasurer's automation fund, $3,200. Appropriate to $3,103.3102 computer software, $3,200. Section 3, all county employees and elected officials adhere involved herein shall prepare all documentation necessary to effectuate the transfer and prescribed purchase described above. Section 4 of this ordinance is here enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Okay. Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmon.
Yes.
Thank you. Appropriation ordinance 2023-53 being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance being entitled. An ordinance amending the annual operating budget ordinance 2298 for the calendar year 2023 for Marion County, Arkansas, appropriate funds for the purchase of equipment for E911 emergency services. Section 1. The 1006-501 ARPA revenue replacement fund E911 in the amount of $288,914.91 was not transferred from the 2022 budget into the 23 budget. Section 2, appropriate the money in the amount of $288,914.91 for the following fund. Appropriate from 1006 ARPA revenue replacement fund, amount $289,914.91. Appropriate to ARPA revenue replacement fund, E911 fund, 1006-501. 1006-501, 2002, small equipment, $20,636.49. 1006-501, 2023, parts and repairs, $1,196.65. 1006-501, 3009, other professional services, $47,276.82. 1006-501, 3102, computer software support and maintenance, $70,217.46. 1006-501, 4004, machinery and equipment, $129,587.49. Section 3, all county employees and elected officials involved herein shall prepare all documentation necessary to effectuate the transfer and purchase described above. Section 4, this ordinance is hereby enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I have a slight problem with this one here. It goes back ways. Everybody's pretty much knows that we had a problem with our budget early on. And it's been under correction. For whatever reason. On, February 23rd, we received the proposed budget from the judge's office. Under 911, it showed a budgeted amount of reflected budget $400,000. In the budget dated May 5th, it's showing the same amount as $523,000. That's up $120,000. On top of that, we show the executive order 2023-3 dated January 11th. If this took place or not, I don't know. I don't have confirmation that that one says for the treasurer to move $219,497 from 2022 budget into the 2023 budget. If that took place, it would have put the budget at about $509,000. This would put, if you took what they moved, if they moved that, the $219,000, and you add this here into it, that means in the 4 months we've been going, we're going to be adding $509,000, $500,000 to 911. So I have no explanation for the executive order. I have no explanation for why the 911 budget was moved from the proposed budget amount to a higher budget. I don't agree with spending money with what we don't.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that we should even have this on the floor right now because in the on the agenda, it says that it was sent to the committee. So if it wasn't actually on our agenda, because I received emails along with the rest of you asking for sponsorship, and I believe that it failed for lack of a sponsor. And then it went to committee after the date, I believe, after the deadline. So this is setting precedent, and if you can't get a sponsor, you can just send it to a committee and get it on the agenda. And I don't believe that that was the intent when we set our procedures that we abide by. So I don't think we're following our own rules right now by discussing this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I've been looking at some of the reports at the end of the year. And what's disturbing, I saw, no, this is not pertaining to you, Greg, at all. Sure.
I don't think we should be discussing this because it's outside of our rules. It wasn't in our packet. Our packet said that it was being sent to the committee. That surely means something besides that it's in the packet. It didn't have a sponsoring time. Am I correct in that? I mean, we passed those rules that we were going to abide
Yeah,
by.
those rules were passed. So you're saying that this one came up at the second budget meeting past the 7 days.
I believe that all of these that say that they were sent to the committee did not make it into our packet in time for us to be discussing them.
Because the committee was held within the 7 days.
Yeah, it wasn't by the deadline. And it sets precedent for any time that there's a lack of a sponsor, you just go ahead and put it on the agenda and it's sent to the committee.
As much as I think that we have to hear this, I have to agree with you because it does set a precedence going forward that if we don't get it in time, you just squeeze in an extra committee meeting before the date within the 7 days. So I'm in agreement with you. Even though I think it's important, I agree with what you're saying. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask then? What would the guidelines be? Because I've been doing this for a couple of months now, putting it, that's been sent to the committee because the committee meetings are always after I get the packets out. What are we going to constitute as an emergency that I might get might not have the ordinance, but it's going to go to a committee after the packets are out in order to be placed on the agenda? I'm just asking. You don't have to, I mean, I will not accept any of it if you don't want me to. I'm just trying to clarify for my own skills.
But
Yes, sir.
I believe that our procedural ordinance that we passed defines what it takes to get something in front of the court.
Yes, it does.
I don't believe this met those guidelines. So I believe I hate to speak because I can't quote it without looking at it, but I believe that it says that in the case that 3 quorum court members sponsor it, that overrides the rule that it made it, but it didn't have any sponsors. Or at least if anyone replied to sponsor it at the time, they didn't reply all because I never saw anyone sponsor it.
All right.
Everybody,
Yes, sir.
the budget committee submitted it to the court, so it has 5 sponsors.
We probably should review our procedural ordinance.
When the procedure order says you gotta have 3 for post-packet submittal. This particular ordinance was submitted by budget committee. It has 5. So it's appropriate to vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, in response to some of the discussion, in some of the meetings where they agree that rather than doing the vote, let's let the whole quorum court, not necessarily did they take a vote for or against it. They made no vote at all. And that's assuming now the no vote is a yes vote and not necessarily something. I think town's got a very valid argument. In some cases, it feels that the quorum court should vote yes or no with that bill accepted. But nowhere does it make that provision. Like Dawn says, it's been a habit of not getting him in on time. You get him out here. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
He has a point. if the committee had, if the committee in fact sponsored to put it, and their intent was to put it in front of this meeting, which is now unclear what the intent was because it's not been specified. It wasn't specific. I do know the intent of the procedural ordinance.
Correct.
The intent of the procedural ordinance was that the item needed a sponsor before a deadline to get here. The intent of the other was also if you missed the deadline, you could put it here. But when the committee made the decision to support it, was their intent to put it here because all those individual members also had ample time to respond to the email and sponsor it.
I believe the committee intent was to submit it to the May court for consideration.
The only thing I'd like to say
Yes,
about it is we appropriated this money, $410,000. Is that right, Cassie? Back when Dwayne was with us. Okay. We never paid it all. We're gonna have to pay this fee. If we don't, they're gonna sue us. But, I agree with Rick. There's a lot of money going out. You know, but I just, it's a deal.
Yes, ma'am.
My point in that I picked up from what Justice Talon has said is the fact that no one agreed to sponsor the ordinance to begin with. It got sent back to us. No one responded. So the next action was to send it to the budget committee. So it goes back to last month when I said, well, mom says no. So we go back to dad. I kind of think we're in this, we play whatever game we're going to play to get the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
To capitalize on my point here, this is the first, and I understand you're new here, and we didn't do this before, as far as new administration. This is the first that I've ever seen put on the agenda that something was going to be referred to a committee. I've never seen that before.
All right.
I don't believe that you were trying to hide anything, or if you were, it wouldn't be right there in front of us. I just question if that's something that we want to do. Because if we're going to continue to do this moving forward, anything that anyone has that dies for lack of sponsors goes to a committee. And when you get to a committee, a lot of times the committee just decides, blows my mind, and I'm not accusing anybody in particular, but a lot of times the committee just doesn't want to make a hard choice. So they send it to the quorum court. So everybody has to make the hard choice. So it's not all on the committee because the committee is a fewer number of people. So this really allows for that because you get just one person shows up to a committee and says, you're not going to give my girl a raise? And then the committee says, well, instead of saying no, let's pass it to the whole court and everybody can be the bad guy and they can share the hate and discontent. I just don't like the way that we've done it. I don't think that it's appropriate. To me, it should have died for lack of sponsor. If 3 JPs wanted to, if we want to, I don't know if, I hate, as much as I hate to help out on this, maybe we could suspend the rules and 3 individual sponsors could do it because our procedural ordinance does not say that a committee can send it here. It says that 3 JPs can spend, we can suspend the rules, 3 JPs can sponsor it and we can put it in front of us. But there again, I think we're
Set the precedence.
well, we got the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah.
Because
I tend to agree with that aspect of it. Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to clarify something very quickly. Nobody asked me to put these on the agenda like this. That was my decision. And the reason for that is because the committee meetings are happening after the packets have to go out. I get the ordinances, but I don't necessarily have sponsors and they're going toward the committee. And the committee could say, no, we're not going to do this. And then that will bring forth, like you said, making the hard choice, blah, blah. And, so we need to, if there's blame to be placed here, it's on me. Or I implemented that when we had like 35 ordinances going through and it wasn't feasible to get them all done in time for the packet because of the time between the committee meeting and the packets going out.
I don't want to blame anybody. To me, if you don't have the sponsors by the deadline, then it shouldn't say going to be on the agenda if we can gather the sponsors between now and then, because that's essentially how this, I feel like, worked.
So I guess the question on the floor is if we're going to accept this into tonight's vote.
We could vote on that.
I think that's where we're at.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and vote whether or not to allow this to be on tonight's agenda.
I'll say,
It's not just this.
No, I see. Yes,
There's a number of.
there's multiple
If we have, I think
because that meeting was so late in the week.
I don't believe we can be accused of doing any wrong if the supermajority of the court wants to discuss it. I don't know what the rules are here. Mr. Russo may ask him to make sure what we're doing is okay. But I believe that we're violating our procedural ordinance by discussing this.
Did you make a motion?
And I believe it was second.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will say, to discuss my motion, that as soon as we start changing the rules, we might as well throw them out.
And like I stated earlier, some of these are important, but if we set a precedence now, it'll be the way it'll be going forward. So keep that in mind when you vote.
Okay.
Voting.
This is on the motion from Justice Van Kuren to suspend the rules to allow this to allow this ordinance to get sponsors so that it can be voted. Am I correct?
Well, no,
No?
I don't want to allow it to get sponsors. I want to allow us to violate our own rule. I mean,
Okay, so
I would like for it to read that way. I'm making a motion that we suspend our own rules and allow this to be discussed. I don't want to seek sponsorship.
to be discussed.
Or voted on, actually, I guess.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Well, which do you want? Voted on or discussed?
So we can vote on it if it passes.
So if I can understand what we're gonna do, we're gonna vote to suspend the rules to bring this before us. And then we have several others following. Are we gonna suspend all the rules? Because if we do one, in all fairness to everyone else, we gotta do them all. Would not be fair to the other ones because they just rinsed.
Yeah, that would be setting a precedence. Go ahead.
If this one passes, my next motion will be to suspend the rules on the rest of them for tonight. That takes care of that.
Hang on, I gotta catch up.
I personally appreciate the technicality, and I think you're correct.
Yeah.
On this particular ordinance, I'm not speaking to any others, this particular ordinance is bill due. And we should take consideration because it's a bill due. Go ahead and vote.
I appreciate that. I want to go back to what the sheriff said. We had a bill 5 years ago we didn't pay, so they wiped us free and clear if we give them $4,500 a year. So we may be in best interest not to pay it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheriff.
I think the vote is.
No. Yes, no, sir. No, sir. Let's move forward.
Clarify something because I'm
No.
getting up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Just please reiterate what you said, what you're trying to say.
This is a revocation.
Okay. All right.
And it's a bill that's due.
And Justice Van Kuren, you were saying what?
I'm saying that, based on the story that the sheriff just gave us, we were all happy to hear, was that if we don't pay the bill for 5 years, there's a chance that it gets wiped.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, you get ahead of me sometimes. Okay, so this,
Don't be mad at me. I'm only repeating what was said tonight.
not mad. No, I'm just trying to catch up. I have to read. I have to write. Okay, so
Then,
this is on the motion of Justice Van Kuren to suspend your own rules and to allow this ordinance to be voted on. Justice McCullough has seconded it. Justice Van Kuren,
no,
Justice White,
No.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
No.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
No.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Didn't get enough.
So it failed.
It failed.
Okay, so now,
inquiry. Is there anything left on the agenda that was here in time to abide by the rules that we set forth?
Yes, the one for the amending
if you
what rule means for fire departments.
I have started to mark these as when I receive them so that people know that I get them after the fact. So,
Point four.
I'm sorry.
Does this mean we're not voting on this? Does it mean it's automatically submitted to the June court? Or is it?
No, it'll have to get
action
it.
that needs to be taken?
It'll have to get sponsored.
No, nothing passed. The motion
Correct.
didn't pass.
Correct. So we're not going to discuss it or the other ones from May 4th.
So what's the status of those? Do they need to go back to budget committee? Or do they actually go to the June court?
Yes, sir.
Don't have to get sponsored.
I would say that this committees did sponsor them. I just think that the intent was unclear. To clarify, for the sake of everyone's transparency, there should be another email sent out asking for sponsorships, and they should be sponsored. And then everybody's happy.
I'll make a motion for sponsorship for district
No.
court.
A lot of things going on. Okay, so Justice Reed, you are making a motion to do what?
Sponsor this ordinance.
Put my name on it too.
Okay. Wait a minute, I gotta think about this.
We'll still submit the email for so everybody, so we have clarification and there's no gray lines. So we'll submit the email to show and ask and put those two on there. So everybody's on the same page going forward. And again, I agree, as important as it is, but a precedent's being set now to do that. That would be the way it could be from here on out. And we need to abide by what we've already set in stone. Yes, sir.
I believe we need to move to the item on the agenda. I don't
Yes.
believe it's appropriate to have an ordinance outside of the scope of the agenda right now.
I'm ready to speak on the ordinance for the rural fire department definition.
Say it again.
The rural fire departments.
Agenda, it's number 10, and it doesn't have that sent to the budget committee, so is that where we need to be? I'm just going by the.
Do I have my second sheet?
Okay, so
But I don't see on the
it
agenda
didn't
that
happen, this didn't happen.
wrote so never mind.
Oh. All right. Does everybody
I'm
have
just
the
trying to figure out what we're doing.
ordinance that I had Scrima's sponsorship on
Okay, so we're
way before 7 days?
been pulled.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm trying to get to. And then includes just let me get to where I'm going.
Yeah, part agenda.
Sales tax. Sales.
Where's the fire department one in this? The number 6. The one right here? It's not, this one's not on this. You're not correct. I'm not. Yes, I'm a little bit frustrated. Yes.
We go to. Which one are we looking for, Judge? I'm sorry.
The one where we redefined the term rule for the
Okay,
fire
that
department.
doesn't come until later because we still have a collector's office automation fund that was sponsored by Justice Reed that we received in time. And the treasurer's.
Second sheet, my agenda with me that shows that.
I'm looking at the online. There is no sheet.
It just shows the 6, correct?
It's good.
Okay, that's what I have right here.
Yes, that's why I'm having trouble. 'Cause
Somebody have a second sheet for me, please.
Here.
I do.
Now that I have a second sheet, I see that we're down to number 10.
I'll just take a picture.
Yes, sir. I just got one from Justice Brigham.
You got one. All right, thank you.
I apologize for not having that.
Okay. So where I'm at in this is the collector's office with. It's everybody with me on that? It was sponsored by Justice Reed. At the time,
So can I get a hard copy of this? I've been using the digital copy.
it should be on there.
It wasn't on the agenda.
It is.
It's on the
It's
agenda.
in there.
In the package, not on the agenda.
Yeah, because I was having.
It's
trouble
on the
finding it.
agenda.
On my digital copy? Oh, sure.
It's on page 48.
Okay, thank you. My digital copy only had the ordinance 1 through 6 on the agenda.
That was scanned in. Well, I don't scan.
Just on the agenda. There were 6 items.
Okay,
That's one I've been looking at. That's why I've been a little bit confused here.
okay,
We're the collector, right?
yes.
Number 10? No, yes, number 10.
Yes, we are to number
Yes.
10, but I do have a question
Okay, good.
because the ordinance did for defining a rule, I had Justice Scrim's backing on its sponsorship before the 7-day deadline. Now, I know we took it to the budget committee that was on May 4th, but I didn't need to get any more. We just presented it to them to show them what we were doing. But I'd already had Justice Scrim's sponsorship over a week before.
What does it say on here? Sent to budget committee?
Yeah. It
On the
does.
on the sales tax distribution,
It's not, the sales tax is part of, it's on there, but it's not changing it, but we're redefining the word term rule.
yes.
He's right.
But
And Scrim and I spoke well within, before the 7 days. Yes, sir.
And not that one. Fire ordinances where it takes everything that was passed, like the 2013 or 50, they're all wrong for this particular ordinance. However, there are others, if we start digging, they're wrong too. So now to get it clear is what we talk about, is that if you're going to amend an ordinance, you better be darn sure that you have a specific section and that's all you're changing,
Mhm.
and you reference the prior original ordinance. And that's what this does. We made mistakes before.
Hi, ma'am. Can we do this one first and get it over with and then discuss the other one?
Yeah.
Because this was already sponsored, it was already on the agenda, It
Is that number 10?
see, it's 54 to me, but yes, it's number 10.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance 2023-54 being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amended ordinance 2023-33, Article 3 to read, Fund 3001-104-1002, Collector Automation Fund, see attached. Article 1, Chief Deputy Collector, 3001-104-1002. Article 2, all county employees and elected officials involved herein shall prepare all documentation necessary to effectuate the transfer and purchase described above. Article 3, emergency clause. This ordinance is here enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
What is the C attack?
My goodness.
Bringing that in.
Yeah.
I'll take the copy of it. What I have in my packet just says Chief Deputy Collector. Article 2, all county employees and elected officials involved herein shall prepare. That's the one that you just read.
Yes,
We have a motion and a second on this.
not yet.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Discussion?
So,
Yes, sir.
so last month, let me catch up to speed, and I'm not illiterate. I just, have different papers in different locations. Last month, we moved the pay from $13.25 to $14.50.
To 1450.
So
And so what are we doing tonight?
We're amending only for, instead of it being paid out of 1,000, it's being paid out of 3001 by automation.
That's all we're doing, right?
That's all.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I don't even know where I'm supposed to start. Anybody have any idea where? Okay, I'm gonna start with Rick. Justice White?
Yeah.
Justice Reed?
Yeah.
Justice Hutching?
Yes.
Justice Shipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough?
yes.
Justice Scrima?
Yes.
Justice Nichols? Justice Van Kuren?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. The one after that is the treasurer's office ordinance, which has been pulled and will be presented at the June meeting, is my understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now we are on the sales tax distribution ordinance, which will be ordinance number 55, in case anybody's trying to keep count.
You haven't read it yet.
Appropriation ordinance 2355 being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance amending the percentage breakdown of Marion County's 1% countywide sales use tax. Whereas it's deemed necessary to define rural fire departments and assigning the percentage of sales tax monies in the following manner, beginning monies received in January 1, 2023. Article 1, sales tax listed in ordinance 2021-112 are hereby amended to read as follows: 45% county road, 21% law enforcement, 21% transfer station, 13% rural fire departments, for a total of 100%. Article 2, rural fire departments for the purpose of this ordinance are defined by those departments in the unincorporated areas of Marion County, such as which do not have a full-time organized fire department. Article 3, all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby superseded and held for naught. Article 4, this ordinance shall be retroactive to January 1, 2023. Article 5, all county employees and elected officials involved herein shall prepare all documentation necessary to effectuate the transfer between herein.
Motion.
Okay, hang on now. Who was the first one to second it?
Hey.
Well, if you watch the YouTube, they wrote it down wrong. Okay. Discussion,
What's the number?
55.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
clarify a few things. I think it's a little confusion. This ordinance was brought to my attention and there was a question over what was ruled. And when I got to looking at the ordinance, there was a conflict between the ordinance that were court passed and some of the definitions under state law. So my short-term recommendation is to pass this just to correct some funding issues. Now, this is amending previous ordinance, okay? To be clear, depending upon what and how the Quorum Court does things, even on an amendment, you can read those by title only. All ordinances can be read by title only. However, before you start that, it has to be 2/3 vote by the entire Quorum Court. So you don't have to read every single ordinance. The intent was to have a ton of them, you don't have to read them. However, when the ordinance is being amended, the amended part has to be fully enacted and republished at length within the ordinance. That was part of the problems that's been occurring in the past. That republication reenacting didn't occur. One of the problems that came up, and we were talking earlier about some of the funding for 911, there was a major boo-boo in the air with the budget. And all the money that was appropriated last year for these things, where normally that money would be carried over, none of that was carried over, none of that was reappropriated. So right now, county budget is in limbo because there was no reappropriations or funds, any of that was done. My understanding, the judge's office was working on that. This ordinance falls into that same area of limbo. Because rule wasn't properly defined with a change in staff, a check got improperly issued to a city department. Under the definition of rule, when I was asked about it, the city would be entitled to that funding if you look at the definition under state law. I know what the intent was by the Quorum Court, but that wasn't specifically spelled out. So if you look at this ordinance specifically delineates what is a rural department. Now, that itself has now opened up an entire plethora and can of worms because the Quorum Court, in my opinion, has been improperly funding some various fire departments throughout the county. And that needs to be fixed. And of course, county judge's office is working on that, along with some of the justices. So I think moving forward, my recommendation is you need to pay very close, careful attention to the ordinances that are being passed to make sure that they're fully in compliance, both with your own rules, procedures, and policies, and those of state law. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion? Justice Reed,
Yes.
Hand back. Someone raise their hand back there.
Go ahead, please. Say again. We're a minute. All right.
okay. Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yeah.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima.
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
Justice White. Thank you. going to be resolution 2023-4. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Marion County, State of Arkansas, resolution authorizing the Marion County Judge to submit application to extend letter of credit by First Service Bank of Yellville, Arkansas. Whereas Marion County is the owner or operator of the Marion County Transfer Station, whereas the letter of credit 187 was issued in 2022 in the amount of $5,500 and will expire on the year anniversary of the origin date, which is July 14th of 2023. Whereas the Quorum Court authorizes the County Judge of Marion County, Arkansas to submit an application, a formal request to the First Service Bank for the purpose of satisfying the requirements of the irrevocable standby letter of credit with First Service Bank in the amount of $5,500 to guarantee the Arkansas Department of Energy and Environment, Bank Marion County will be responsible for $5,500 of the cleanup of solid waste transfer station in the event that it is closed or abandoned. This is the requirement of the Arkansas Department of Energy and Environment permitting process. Now therefore be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Section 1, that the letter of credit for Marion County Transfer Station for First Service Bank will be expired July 14th, 2023. Section 2, that the Marion County Judge is hereby authorized to submit an application of formal request to the First Service Bank 425 Highway 62, 412 East, Yellville, Arkansas 72687 to extend the letter or credit for the purposes of satisfying the requirements for the permitting of the Marion County Solid Waste Transfer Station. That I do. Okay, Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yeah.
Justice Scrima,
Yeah.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yeah.
Justice Reed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Resolution, 2023-5. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Marion County, the State of Arkansas, a resolution authorizing County Judge of Marion County to apply for a grant on behalf of the Marion County Circuit Clerk. Whereas the Marion County is applying for a grant through the Association of Arkansas Counties to scan county land records to fully integrate land records management software system. And whereas the proposed scanning will also give an updated public search product for the courthouse station, each search station. And whereas the purpose to preserve the history of for our future generations. And whereas the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas recognizes the need for this project, concurs its importance, understands there will be no cost to the county for this grant, and wholeheartedly supports the efforts to proceed with this project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Marion County County Judge of Marion County is hereby authorized to apply for a grant from the Association of Counties, Arkansas Counties, for the purpose of securing grant funds in the amount of $114,736.97 to aid and assist in this proposed project described herein, and the county judge is further authorized to administer grant funds for the said project.
Second.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White. Justice Reed.
Yes.
Justice Hutching.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have to read the appointments, do I?
No, we have to go for that one.
Well, I'm gonna start with Norm Erickson to the Regional Airport Board. And it's an advisory board, so I'm just going to appoint him to his term that runs through 28. He'll be joining that board along with Mayor Hogan, who'll be there as well until his term is over as elected official. And then on Peggy Pentowski for the Library Board, being that's a governing board, we will have to take a vote on that. Yes.
I noticed on the members of the Quorum Court that's dated today, it has Amy Brown's term expires on December 31st of 2022. Because I understand that Peggy is replacing Carl Neckley Jr. So is Amy Brown position open or?
Amy Brown was not yet committed to be sworn.
I think if you read that 3-ring binder, which I call the Green Bible, because we got it from AAC, there's a time limit on how soon they have to come in.
Do you remember what that limit was?
I think it's in 5 days, 5 working days, but I would, yeah, it's quick. And, yeah,
Why will reach
And
out?
that's why I'm saying,
well, I'm bringing that to someone's attention.
I will reach out to the library and I will get a clarification on that. But today is for Peggy Pitowski. We'll start with Peggy Pitowski. I have to get a vote. I have not had the opportunity. She's in Kentucky right now, but I believe this all JPs have met her.
JP, thank you. Good fit.
I'll speak. Yes, she's been a friend of the libraries a number of years, volunteers. She is also been on the library board. I think she would be great.
Wonderful.
I'm out. We didn't vote to ratify Mr. Erickson.
You don't have.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
It's an advisory board.
Okay, that's right. All right, I heard that really.
Let's do an individual vote for Peggy.
I will, just give me 1 second,
Yes, ma'am.
still writing. Oh. Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passed.
All right. And secondly, with the library board, Miss Marsha Richardson has resigned. She has stepped down, and Carol Harris has come forward to want to take her place. I did have the opportunity to meet with Carol today. We had a conversation in my office. Her first job out of high school was was working at the library, and she is part of book clubs for both Marion and Boone County, and looks forward to working on the library board. I told her we take a vote here tonight, but I also told her that it could come up that you all would want to meet her also, so she's aware of that as well. But I met with her today in my office before we came here to Quorum Court. Yes, sir.
Feel like she'd be a good fit.
I think she'd be a real good fit.
Okay, Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yeah.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutching,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Any more announcements? Yes, sir.
Quick, Judge, I gotta get my camera set up because I'm gonna need that. for the announcement. Thank you, Judge. I wanted to ask, well, first I wanted to say that as you justices sit up here and deliberate the county's business every month, we have a very dedicated, hardworking group of individuals that are out there 24/7 providing services to the county. Of course, you know, our sheriff's deputies, our firefighters, our EMS personnel, and sometimes people we consider, we don't really think about, but they're really the unsung heroes. And those are 911 communicators. Those men and women that serve in our dispatch center are the voice and the face of Marion County for citizens who come to our county, citizens who call or any kind of problem 24/7, 365. There's always somebody on the other end of that line. And oftentimes those folks are forgotten. We had a situation a couple of days ago, and I felt one of the things I'd like to do as a new OEM director and the sheriff and the judge and our 911 coordinator who just had to leave because there's a structure fire down around Caney, so she had to go take care of business. But we wanted to start recognizing some of those successes, and when our people do something really remarkable or minimize our potential exposure for our citizens and our deputies, wanted to point that out. We had just a situation the other day, and I would ask that if Sheriff Alexander, Judge Stump, and dispatcher James Colbert, telecommunicator James Colbert could step forward. I'd like to, the sheriff and the judge are going to make a presentation, and I'd like to read to you a commendation that we have for telecommunicator Colbert. So just so everybody's aware, on or about Sunday, the 30th of April, at about 3:40 a.m., telecommunicator James Colbert received a 911 call regarding an in-progress criminal trespassing, possible armed home invasion in the area of the 4800 block of North Highway 125. The male caller was very agitated at the time, and he was very upset and claimed that his ex-girlfriend, who was highly intoxicated, had driven to the home and was trying. She used a power tool, broke out the window of his front door, put it in a match, and was trying to set the trailer on fire with our victim. During the entire time, telecommunicator Colbert maintained a calm and reassuring demeanor during the entire call. While dealing with the agitated suspect, he was able to professionally coordinate the responding units and ensured that they were well informed. In other words, he was able to get the information to our responding deputies so they could establish a perimeter to attempt to apprehend the suspect. At one point, the call was disconnected and telecommunicator Colbert was able to reestablish communication. That was very important because at this time the call escalated. The homeowner pulled out a .44 caliber pistol and started firing in the air, firing warning shots in the air to get the suspect to leave. He then went outside of the home. The whole time, telecommunicator Colbert kept our caller on the phone and de-escalated that situation. At one point, the suspect entered her vehicle and attempted to run over the victim, at which time the victim fired again at the vehicle, striking the vehicle in the front of the vehicle, not hitting the suspect. The woman then drove over a Harley Davidson motorcycle, ran to a pontoon boat, and then tried to flee. She wound up getting stuck in the driveway on a pile of wood. At that time, the deputies responded to the scene. And again, during the entire incident, telecommunicator Colbert maintained command and control of the call. He was able to convince the caller to eventually retreat into the residence, which obviously de-escalated the situation and saved probably the woman from being shot. Deputies arrived on the scene. The suspect did flee. However, the telecommunicator Colbert was able to again get a description of the suspect, put that description out to the responding units, at all time, again, maintaining significant command and control over the call. The suspect eventually fled the scene and was later apprehended by our deputies. In this particular case, James, your attention to duty and commitment to the citizens of Marion County, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, and the Marion County 911 Communication Center certainly minimized the potentially dangerous and deadly situation, not only for our victim, our responding deputies, and the suspect. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed and are greatly appreciated by all the stakeholders involved as well as your fellow coworkers. Thank you very, very much for your commitment and a job well done. That'll be it, Judge. Thank you.
Well, with that said, any more announcements? I'd like to make one myself. I do apologize for the agenda to the JPs. Some of you having copies, not having copies of the second sheet. And I also do agree going forward, we will adhere to our own procedures we passed, and we will not set precedents going against our own rules. Full responsibility is on me. We will button it up. We will get tip top. I promise you that going forward. I'm going to put some more focus on this. I take that on my chin myself. With that said, I get a motion to adjourn. Motion. Second. Adjourn. I don't know why. I didn't insist it.
On